All right, hello, welcome back to Unqualified Analysis, and I'm going to make a quick change here at the top of the episode. I am so backed up on facts that I think I'm going to start doing one at the beginning and one at the end. We'll see if this actually, continues through football season, but for right now, I have so many fun facts backed up. I just got to start offloading these things. So, to start this thing off, fun fact Humpty Dumpty, not an egg. It was the nickname for a large cannon used by royalist forces at the siege of Gloucester in 1643 during the First English Civil War. It was positioned high in a church outside the city before parliamentarians took it down, spawning the nursery rhyme. Lewis Carroll, illustrator, I believe, is the one that popularized the image of Humpty Dumpty as an egg. So, with that, just adding one more new thing to the show. Why not? Hey, welcome in to the show, Unqualified Analysis. We're not talking about eggs. We're not talking about cannons. We are talking about sports, a little bit of football. Sorry, I had to clear that one off. I have a bad memory, so if I just keep it there, there's a good chance I'll just read it next week. So there you go. Or at the end of this episode, quite frankly. My memory isn't great. We have moved into the new apartment. I am in a new closet. The closet of shame is retired. I'm no longer in the closet of shame. I'm debating what to call this new closet. I think I settled on the closet of solitude. Not quite so shameful anymore. It is the closet of solitude here in my new apartment in beautiful metropolitan city of Ohio somewhere. You can take your guess as to where. Today, I'm going to be honest with y'all, this episode might suck. It might not be very good. It's just kind of the way it is. There's not a whole lot of news breaking that I really care about over the last week in the world of football, so I'm pretty much just going to be bopping around here. I'm going to be moving from topic to topic. I'm going to try and not make this a long episode because there's really not a great deal to talk about. But there's a good chance I get on my rambling and it goes a little bit longer than I expected it to go. So, with that, I'll just, take a quick swig of caffeine here. Winding down from a long day of work. Still, not nearly as physically drained as I was at the old job, folks. Let me tell you, who would have thought working at a grocery store at the operational level is a little bit more physically taxing than working at a desk all day where you are seated for roughly 8 hours a day. Who would have thought? Who would have thought such a thing would happen? But that is all to say, I do still, I crave caffeine. I'm an addict, if you will. It's probably a little bit of a strong characterization, but I already put it out there, so you do with that what you will. I needed my ice cold Coca-Cola. Yeah, that's how you say it. So yeah, we're just gonna roll right into this thing, man. This thing might suck. Again, this might suck, and I apologize if it does, but just know I'm trying my best here. All right, I'm trying my best. So. One thing I missed from last week, actually a couple things I missed from last week. Really, one just kind of dropped right after I finished recording the show, so might as well just add it in here. Austin Rivers said 30 NBA players could play in the NFL, but no NFL players could play in the NBA. As much as I would love to spend 15 minutes on this topic, it's too late. No one gives a fuck anymore. Let's be honest. No one cares. I can't be discussing this 2 weeks later. It's just the time has passed. I could have done it last week. We were right on the edge of that thing still being kind of relevant. I simply can't do it 2 weeks later. So, yeah, I don't know. I do believe there are probably more NBA players that could play in the NFL than NFL players that could play in the NBA. Just put it out there. It's a hype thing. Sorry, but that's pretty much all I have to say on that. Also, MVS is signing with the Bills, but we know who this guy is at this point. I don't really care too much about that. It's another wide receiver guess they could always use more wide receivers in Buffalo this day and age, especially after trading away Stephon Diggs. I don't know. I mean, he is a receiver. He's more. I mean, he's not bad at getting open, I suppose. He's just not very good at coming down with the ball when the elite quarterback that is seemingly always throwing to him, going from Rodgers to Mahomes to Josh Allen now, puts the ball directly in the breadbasket where it is, most easily catchable. He has a problem with bringing those down for whatever reason. Sometimes he makes good plays. Oftentimes he makes some head-scratching plays. Whatever. He's a Buffalo Bill now, so good for him continuing to get paychecks. I mean, that's great for him. I wish him all the wealth and prosperity that this world has to offer, and his chosen profession doles out willingly. And with that, I don't have a whole lot else to say. I guess we'll get to a few headlines before I get into the rambling. First and foremost, Harrison Butker said some stuff. That was, wow, what a benediction. Is that what it's called? Benediction? It's not a valedictorian speech because he wasn't actually one of the people that graduated. I know he did the speech at Benedictine College, I think was the one. Christian University, so I guess it's worth adding in there for context. But this guy just went full traditionalist, shall we say. I mean, telling a bunch of women who are about to graduate with degrees, go into their careers and are so excited, he basically just told them, society has told you diabolical lies. My wife's life really didn't start until she had kids, and I think many of you would feel the exact same way. Basically just taking out, flopping out his little penis, grabbing, give me your fucking diploma. Takes the diploma, puts it down there in piss and rain, and then just lets her fly. That's exactly what he just did in the speech. And on top of that, he made a little offhanded remark about, Pride Month. We have a whole month dedicated to the deadly sin or some shit like that. I mean, the dude, everything short of racism. He hit about every note of misogyny that you can hit on. And, man, that was a decision. That was a decision. I mean, he talked about, don't be soft, be a man, essentially, which, I mean, to a certain extent, I agree with, parts of that. I think, we have some softness, what's the word? Infiltrating society. That sounds a little bit too sinister. Pervading society is probably a better word for it. But I can understand that a little bit. I don't necessarily agree with it, on its surface, I would say. Just like, hey, I do agree with the parts where he's saying, hey, do the hard thing. Don't shy away from the hard thing. If I shied away from the hard thing, I wouldn't be here in this new spot making, I mean, I'm not saying I'm making good money, but I'm making adult livable money to where I can live on my own. So, yeah, I mean, I agree with that part of it. But he was really just, he hit some real misogynistic and homophobic notes. And the homophobic notes are funny because, well, and I'd like to preface this next little portion by saying, everything I'm about to say is alleged by a semi-anonymous TikTok user. So, put your allegedly ears on because nothing I'm about to talk about is confirmed. It is, however, funny. So, we're going to get right into it. There was, a beautiful woman on the TikTok over there. Cut together, spliced together, did like a little respond thing. You know how TikTok does. What the youths do nowadays. Had a little portion of his speech talking about, it was the part I was just talking about. We got a whole month devoted to the deadly sin, as he put it, quote unquote. And then the girl comes in and essentially says, that's interesting. Didn't you hook up with a male cheerleader back in college? And again, I'm going to, just for the sake of all fairness, allegedly, just pepper that with allegedly. Nothing there is confirmed. However, for the sake of this and for the sake of laughing, because we love to laugh, let's just kind of assume for a second that the alleged is, there's a little kernel of truth in it. It always seems to be the people that are the most against a thing that turn out to be hiding some things related to that thing in their personal life. I hope I haven't been too specific. All I'm saying is, you hear these preachers, the fundamentalist Christians, if you will, the people that Jesus would turn away from at the pearly gates, talking about railing against homosexuals, all that sort of stuff. The ones that are loudest about it always seem to be the ones where the scandal comes out that they met a male prostitute in a motel somewhere. And I'm not saying that's what Harrison Butker is doing. However, it would be kind of hilarious after all that he said, and this isn't the first time, I mean, it's the first time he's outright said, or espoused explicit hatred for the LGBTQ plus whatever. There's so many fucking letters in that thing right now, but it is what it is. You understand. The plus covers all of it. He hasn't outright espoused those beliefs to this point, but I think he did. If I remember correctly, he decided not to wear some sort of apparel for Pride Month based on religious reasons, all that sort of stuff. So, you could kind of read between the lines on that one a little bit. He's not necessarily been, I mean, no one's really asked him the pointed question. He just kind of offered this up, but it is always, it's interesting. I'm just saying, I wouldn't be shocked if he was out there getting his sweet little booty cheeks pounded by some male cheerleader at whatever college Harrison Butker went to. I couldn't even fucking tell you where he went to college. I have no idea. He's a kicker, which is by the poet Big Cat on Pardon My Take podcast said it best when it was all said and done. Why are you getting offended? It's a kicker. Who cares? Which is, I mean, a perfect encapsulation of, I think, of how I feel. I mean, obviously, I don't agree with like 95 to 99% of what Harrison Butker said in his outrageous graduation speech, just telling women they should stay in the kitchen and take care of children instead of looking for a career, leaning into their vocation, as he called it. At a graduation where a large portion of women are earning their degrees to go on to a career. Man, I went on for too long. I kind of forgot where I was going with that. I disagree with basically everything he said. I found it again. I got y'all. I disagree with basically everything he said, but at the same time, he's a kicker. Like, outside of Pat McAfee, and we didn't even really care about what Pat McAfee was saying when he was in the NFL. Let's just put that out there. People didn't really care about what Pat McAfee was saying up until, let's say, like the last 5-6 years or so. Really, COVID, his show took off, and that's when you saw like the FanDuel deal and all those sorts of deals coming along. Really, outside of Pat McAfee, and he gained a lot of his notoriety post-career, do we give half a fuck what any other kicker generally says? Like that? Do we care what Justin Tucker says on most occasions? I guess sometimes. Really, it's just like offhanded comments. But he's not the one making highlights. Every once in a while, you see him on a video from the plane, like talking shit. I think he said like the Let's Ride after they beat Denver. I can't remember if that was last year or the year before. Ethereum is flying, by the way. How about that? This is what this episode's going to be, folks. My mind's just jumping around. But yeah, I mean, are we going to be looking into? I'm trying to think of a kicker off the top of my head. Are we looking? Hell, even a retired kicker. Are we looking into what Jay Feely says? Do we give a fuck about what Jay Feely says? Are we talking to Sam Martin, the punter of the Bills, to see what he says? No, we're not doing any of that. Are we talking to, I don't know, Anders Carlson? I don't know why I didn't choose his brother, but yeah, either of the Carlsons. Do we give half a shit what either of the Carlsons think? No, we simply don't. So, feel free to disagree at this point with Harrison Butker. I know I certainly do, but also, you shouldn't care. You frankly shouldn't give half a fuck about it, just because... Yeah, I mean, all it's going to take is a couple missed kicks, he'll be out of a job. So y'all will be happy at that point, I suppose. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I disagree with basically everything he said. However, I don't care. Just simply don't care. If it was a quarterback that said it, I'd probably care more, but it is a kicker. Also hilarious that a kicker is talking about, manliness and toughness. Buddy, if someone so much as breathes heavily upon you, it's an immediate ejection and a 15-yard penalty. Your team has the first down. So don't be talking about toughness and masculinity when your job is to kick a ball, and if you get lightly touched, you're either going to cry or the officials are going to just put the guy that did it into a guillotine. So yeah, there we go. That's my little diatribe there. Let's just move on. Schedule reveals in the NFL. There were a couple funny ones. The Chargers, really, there's only a couple social media teams that you really have to pay attention to every year in the NFL space. I think the Chargers are definitely one of them when it comes to the reveal. Speaking of Harrison Butker, this is kind of the Chargers thing. They just throw like shots through Easter eggs in their reveals. This year or last year, they did like a full anime style reveal with a bunch of anime scenes and whatnot. You get it. It was anime. It was kind of fucking awesome. I don't even like anime. I thought it was pretty awesome. This year they decided to release their schedule via The Sims. So they made just, the caricatures of a bunch of people in The Sims. They went through each game. Every single scene with The Sims in it had like little shots in it. The Chargers social media team is, head and shoulders above everyone else. The Chargers social media team, they're up here. They're off camera right now. Whoever the second place social media team, right here. It's not close. It's not close. The Chargers are just so much better than everyone else. They're the only team that I would say is appointment social media when it comes to things like this. Outside of that, Stavros Halkias, a.k.a. Ronnie, got involved with the Ravens reveal. That was pretty cool. I love Stavros Halkias. He's a madman. He's a hilarious comedian. And his Ronnie character is maybe my favorite thing in the entire football season for the most part. So yeah, love him. Love that. The Steelers, they did a whole thing where different players, many of whom I do not know who the hell they are, wouldn't have known who the hell they were without the name tag on the screen, go into a room with Debo. That would be James Harrison, for those of you who are not initiated. Really one of the scariest human beings alive. You have to go into this room with Debo, and you have to make him laugh, and then we'll give you then we'll reveal the schedule. And just a little spoiler alert: no one made him laugh. No one made him laugh. Which they still revealed the schedule too, which is like, you are a bunch of liars. You are just liar pants on fire. I don't condone lying in this space. But at the end of the day, that was a fun one. Just watching Russell Wilson try to make James Harrison laugh and just failing miserably. I think James Harrison was kind of putting on an act for most of those guys. I think he legitimately just does not like Russell Wilson. I think he's just like, I don't like the way you comport yourself. You could say the funniest thing in the world to me right now, and I would not laugh. And he wasn't saying the funniest thing in the world to him. He was saying dad jokes. So did not get even close to cracking a smile with Russell Wilson. And yeah, that was a great video with James Harrison. I feel like there was one more I'm forgetting. I didn't even see the Vikings schedule release. I don't know. That kind of gets me to my point. I don't really care. The Titans just basically did a copy and paste of what they did last year. Just, they used one of the stars from their video last year where they're going down Broadway and showing people logos and asking them what they think those logos are, what teams they represent. That was a great one from last year, probably second or 1A with the Chargers reveal. This year, you got to be more creative. You can't just run it back, man. You got to flex the creative muscles. I was told this is the social media Super Bowl right here. You're just treating it like a Week 7 matchup in Pittsburgh. It's disgraceful, all right? I need more creativity from the Titans social media. The bar was set up here after last year. You delivered down like here. And you know what? It wasn't bad. I mean, if it was the first time I saw such a thing, I wouldn't hate it. But this year, you got to do something new. The Chargers didn't go back to the anime well last year or this year. No. They went to The Sims this year. Creative. Got the creative juices flowing. Flexed their prowess as a social media department. The Titans were like, oh boy, this thing worked. Let me do it 15 more fucking times and then we'll see if the people still like it. No, that's not how this thing works. You got to be better. You got to be better, guys. That being said, I think those were the only schedule releases that I actually watched. Maybe I'll go back and watch more later. I don't know. I don't care about the release of the schedule. We already knew who the teams were playing. We just didn't know the order in which they played. Like that's pretty much all we found out is the order of which they played. We found out some night games as they were slated right now. I mean that's pretty much all that we found out. And I can't be asked to care. Like, make me laugh, that's cool. Otherwise, I mean, I don't give a fuck about the information you're putting out there. I want to see Ronnie using the company credit card of the Baltimore Ravens to go buy hookers and blow and beers with the boys, buying every dish in a restaurant because he's got the company credit card, and then flying across the country to go meet Jim Harbaugh. I want to see that because that makes me laugh. I want to see Debo not laughing and just physically scaring the ever-living shit out of people. That's something I love. I don't need to see the schedule itself. I just can't be asked. I'll go look up the pertinent games whenever I feel like it. I'll look up the Vikings schedule at some point. Maybe I'll watch their schedule release. I don't know. Theirs doesn't really make me laugh. The one last year was just kind of cool because they had like a continuous drone shot pretty much. And that was pretty much it. So, yeah, kickers' opinions, schedule releases, file them under don't care. Just put them in the don't care drive on your computer and file them away for later because I can't be asked. Chargers kill it every year though. That's the only one you should make like appointment viewing. Chargers, anytime they come out with a schedule release, it's always going to be a banger. Always. Every single time it's going to be a banger. So keep that in mind. Otherwise, I don't know, watch your teams and then, I don't know, if you see the other ones along the way, if you see any of them going like viral on social media, I mean, hey, maybe go watch them. Otherwise, I mean, it's just, you got too many other things to care about. Just go. Just go live your life. Just go live your life, folks. All right, so we have got one more headline, and we're having a real goofy show today, folks, and let's just keep it fun and goofy, shall we? The world #1 golfer Scotty Scheffler was arrested driving around a police blockade to get into Valhalla Golf Course, the site of this week's PGA Championship. The cops had no idea he was supposed to be there. I mean, they... reportedly, and there's no body cam footage of this, so this is just basically we're taking the police's word for it, and that's generally been trustworthy over the years. They've never lied about anything before, but I digress on that front. Apparently, Scotty Scheffler dragged a policeman with his car. File that under doubt in my book. Apparently, his pants got damaged beyond repair. Which the other great poet, PFT, on Pardon My Take, brought up a good point. I think he might have just shit himself. I mean, there's a good chance. It didn't say, I guess it didn't say damage beyond repair. They just said that his pants were beyond repair, which it didn't seem like he really, roughed anybody up, per se. What would have caused damage to those pants? The only thing I can think of without a serious collision with a police officer is that he got so scared that old Scotty Scheffler's car was coming at him, he just went right in his pants. Right in his pants. It happens. Who as an adult hasn't? I mean, and if you're an adult and you haven't yet, just wait. It'll happen. One of these days. Who hasn't? At some point, just let a little bit loose in their pantaloons. We've all been there. We've all been there. No shame in it. You don't have to throw a felony charge at someone for assault just because you shit your pants. It's okay. It's okay. Hey, you don't even have to tell us, man. You can just, talk to your captain. Be like, hey, look, I kind of maybe overreacted. It was a stressful situation. Had about 5 cups of coffee and a Jimmy Dean's breakfast sandwich that morning. There was something bubbling in the old guts, and I just saw the car coming towards me, and all bowel control was gone. I annihilated my pants. My underwear is ruined. My pants are ruined. But that wasn't really as a result of Scotty Scheffler. Maybe we just drop those specific charges, and then we just keep it moving from here. What do you say? What do you say? Now, you'll probably get reprimanded, but it would be the honorable thing to do. So that's what I say. I say, you fess up, tell the captain you shit your pants, and then we're all going to move on with our lives. That sound good to you? Sounds great to me. It sounds just fabulous to me. This was just a hilarious misunderstanding, man. There was not a laughing matter, so I'll stop laughing here for a second. Ooh, excuse me. There was a fatal car accident that the police officer was directing traffic around. Scotty Scheffler misunderstood the signs. Obviously, he's a golfer, so he was going into the golf course because he had an early round that morning, just going in there to warm up. He thought it was cool. He thought he was being waved through, and he was not. He was simply not being waved through. Chaos ensues. Jeff Darlington, who covering golf apparently, thought he was just mainly a football guy, but now he's covering golf. Got a great about 1 minute video of Scotty Scheffler being escorted to the police car, the police telling him to stand back, all that sort of stuff. I mean, you got the photo of Scotty Scheffler. I mean, somehow, like an hour after being arrested, his mugshot's out there in the orange jumpsuit. He was released not an hour after that either. He basically took that picture, paid the bail, got his clothes back on, and then went to the golf course from there. There was no fucking reason that they had to put him in that orange jumpsuit. They just felt like getting their power trip on for whatever reason. It was an all-time Twitter day. The memes were just, bellissimo, chef's kiss, beautiful memes coming out of this whole thing. It was a fantastic day on the internet. Ooh, excuse me. Thankfully, Scotty Scheffler wasn't hurt, and there was nothing tragic happened that outside of that tragic car accident that precipitated the whole roadblock, and we could just laugh at it as a group. It doesn't matter about your, race, creed, political affiliations, nothing. Doesn't matter nothing about what you think. The number one golfer in the world being arrested because the cops don't know who the hell he is, and then posing in an orange jumpsuit for his mugshot, only to be released like immediately after the mugshot was taken. That's just funny. That's good comedy. I don't give a fuck who you are. That's great. If you can't laugh at that, your sense of humor needs to be recalibrated, because that's gold. That's comedic gold right there, and I'll have no one tell me different. Just a beautiful day. And then he comes back to the course. I guess the police got him focused. He shot like a 66 that day. It was like 6 under on the day. A lot of low scores on the golf course throughout the whole weekend, but he shot his maybe his best score of the weekend that day. He was fantastic. He was lights out after getting put in the pen for about 5 minutes or so. It was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. He didn't win. Xander Schauffele won his first. He's been gunning for that for quite some time. So hey, congratulations, salutations on everything that's due. All the kudos due to Xander Schauffele. I guess I'm watching golf now. I don't know. Basically, it comes down to I have been bored recently. So when you are bored and it is a weekend and there's no other sports on TV like basketball or anything like that, there's a major going on. It's on ESPN, on CBS. It pops up first thing on my YouTube TV. I'm like, Andy Reid with the donuts. Don't mind if I do. Pop that on. and then you just you zone out and you do some random shit for about an hour or two. That's kind of where I'm at with golf right now, which, from what I've seen, is pretty much the ideal way to watch golf right now. So maybe I'm becoming a golf fan. I don't know. Once my clubs get down here, I'm definitely going to become a golf player a little bit more. I'm not sure I'm going to be making a habit of watching PGA Tour events or majors for the most part. If they're on TV, though, and there's not football on, or basketball for that matter, or really baseball, quite frankly, as well. I like baseball a little bit more than golf. If neither of those three are on TV, maybe I'll pop on some golf. Even hockey might slide in ahead of there. Yeah, I think I'd like to watch hockey a little bit more than PGA. So if any of those four sports are not on TV, then yeah, maybe I'll watch some PGA. If I'm in a tough sports spot, I'll watch some PGA, or I'll do like I was doing before. Like I've gotten back into the habit of this past weekend. I fired up the old Red Redemption 2 again. Thought I might never play that game again, but you know what? I've gotten borderline addicted to betting fake money in Red Dead Redemption 2 on poker. It's fun, dude. I don't know what the hell. I want to go to a casino and play poker, although I know I've been playing against nothing but computers. I'm gonna get smoked if I go into a casino. I know that much. So I need to get more poker nights going, because I've popped that damn game on. It's Old West. You hop into the caricature of New Orleans there for the high roller game. The high roller is only $5. I want to find a higher roller game that's like $25 buy-in. That would be exhilarating to say the least. But it's $5, but it's like the highest buy-in in the game. So you get the juices flowing a little bit. You go in there, and I'll tell you what, I'd be playing poker for like 2 hours. 2-3 hours sometimes, man. Just hand after hand after hand. The shit is fun. Even playing against, inanimate objects, basically. I'm playing against computers. It's still just a fun time. You go in there, you clean out the computers of everything they own. Sometimes you lose. Sometimes it's a little bit of a back and forth play. That's the beauty of poker, man. You go in there, you ain't betting shit for like 5 to 7 straight hands. It's boring. Then all of a sudden you get a hand you feel good about. The guy across from you gets a hand they feel good about. Maybe the guy next to you gets a hand they feel good about as well. And next thing you know, that pot is running up. It's running up fast. You're in that final little stretch. The last card is turned over. Maybe you bet it up a little bit more so the pot's a little bit bigger. And then all of a sudden you're going to turn your cards over and you see if you won or lost. Nothing more exhilarating that wait than seeing whether you won or lost. And I'm talking about virtual poker, fake poker in a video game. I can only imagine how fun that is in real life. I've played poker in real life. It is a good time, man. I'll tell you what. But yeah, that's what I'm into right now. I guess that means we're done talking about golf. Just went off on like a 5-minute diatribe about Red Dead Redemption 2 poker. So that was fun. That certainly had a lot to do with sports. Hey, World Series of Poker is on ESPN, so it counts. It counts. I guess I'll take a swig of this and then kind of think about where we're going from here. Not sure if y'all heard that on the speaker there, or the microphone. I live like directly next to a bar. Like there is a bar that is not connected to my apartment building, but literally directly outside my window and right behind this wall to my left right here. That is, it's got some good clientele. They get some good traffic in and out of there, but it is directly next to my window. It doesn't really bother me. It never gets that rowdy at night. Like, you get some conversation, but I'm going to bed late on the weekends anyways, so who cares, really, at the end of the day? I just got some guys, yelling through the wall over here. They're not yelling at me. They're yelling, having a good time. But yeah, that's so. If you hear some random jocularity and tomfoolery from outside of this, it is most likely the hooligans over at the bar. I would say roughly 40 to 50 feet behind me this way. So yeah, there you go. There you have the little context right there. Yeah, Justin Jefferson's still not at off-season stuff. He won't. Here's a spoiler alert: he's not going to show up until either he has to, and then if it goes beyond that, he's not showing up until he gets his deal. And I hope the Vikings pay him soon. That's the main thing. There's the Justin Jefferson talk. There's really, truly nothing to talk about until he signs his contract. So, I don't know, man. My button downs, they're quite wrinkled, especially the one I wore today. I cannot believe I wore that damn thing into work, but yeah, I digress. Let's talk about some sports, shall we? I've been away from basketball for a little bit, so let's talk about some things that happened on Sunday, if you will, a little bit of Saturday as well. First and foremost, Mavs went, I can't remember if they were at home or on the road. I think they were at home because I believe it was in Game 6. Maybe it was Game 7. I don't know. They beat the number 1 seed in the West, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving had themselves good matchups. Luka Doncic has been shaky at times in the postseason, but he was locked in. Sent the young boys packing. Sometimes you just got to take those lumps. They were the youngest team in the NBA. I'm pretty sure at the very least they were the youngest team in NBA history to make the playoffs, I think, let alone as a 1 seed. So they have a bright future ahead of them. They've got Chet. They've got SGA. They got a bevy of young, possible stars. There they go again. They're just yelling out there. Hooligans, I tell you. Hooligans. But yeah, you need to take some lumps. And no one is great their first time in the postseason. And, the Oklahoma City Thunder are no different in that aspect. So the Mavericks are in the conference finals. And I'll tell you what, that Game 7 between the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Denver Nuggets, boy, was that a topsy-turvy affair, man. It looked like the Nuggets were going to run away with it at halftime. They were up 15. They stretched the lead to 20 at one point in the third quarter. Then all of a sudden, Ants, Jaden McDaniels, Karl Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert especially, they just locked in. Lest I forget Mike Conley, Naz Reid, all those big time players that the Minnesota Timberwolves had, and they just went balls to the wall on defense, man. They absolutely killed them in the second half. Locked them down, came all the way back. I think they win by double digits when it's all said and done. They hold the Nuggets under 100 points after a really good first half by the Nuggets. It was a great game for the Minnesota Timberwolves. A bit of a choke job by the Denver Nuggets, but I choose to take the positive outlook here, and the positive outlook is didn't have a great Game 7. Didn't have a great, I'd say, 2.5 quarters of Game 7. First half was dog shit from Anthony Edwards. But what he did down the stretch defensively, scored when his team needed him to. The numbers, you look at the box score numbers, and he was bad. He was bad. Make no two bones about it. He was not very good for a majority of this game, but when it came nut-cutting time, and they needed Anthony Edwards to do some really spectacular things, he absolutely came through. He put the clamps on defense, got steals, got rebounds, got points off those steals. A coming out party for the ages for Anthony Edwards right now. He has arrived at superstardom in an explosive fashion. He was really good in the regular season. He was an all-star, but he comes into the postseason and his game just elevates to the next level. He's scoring low 30s a game at this point. Has nothing but, highlight reel plays. He's explosive off the floor. He's probably the closest thing to Jordan outside of Kobe that we have seen in NBA history thus far right now. That is the comp. That is, just the mentality, the wanting to bury everyone that stands in front of you, the talking mad shit all the way throughout. He is just a spectacular player. Jordan is really the comp. That is the guy. I'd say even more than Jordan or Kobe for that matter, though. This guy is a natural-born leader. The way that he rallies the troops, keeps the vibes high in the locker room, calls out guys when they need to be called out. Karl Anthony Towns, who would have thought the guy that was 22, 23 years old was going to be playing big brother to Karl Anthony Towns, who's like my age, maybe even a little bit older than me, quite frankly. like a 6-year age difference or something like that. That's exactly what's happened, though. I mean, Anthony Edwards came in this playoffs. He's talking real to Karl Anthony Towns, challenging Karl Anthony Towns. And Karl Anthony Towns came out in Game 7, and he just dominated. He had a game for the ages in Game 7. Naz Reid, for that matter, too. Anthony Edwards, he's not the biggest passer in the world. He's a shooting guard at the end of the day. So he does pass. He had some nifty passes in this past game throughout the course of the series. That's not what he's known for. He's not going to be a consistent 10 assist a game type of guy. But his leadership, the way he lifts people up around him, you can feel it. You can feel the magnitude of his play throughout the entire roster. Everyone that plays, the confidence pervades everyone that plays on that roster. It's a beautiful thing to watch, man. And Anthony Edwards, I think after this postseason, I think he's clearly vaulted himself into the top 5 of the NBA as far as players are concerned. I'm still not sure he's, challenging Jokic yet, but he's definitely in that Giannis range. I wish I knew more about NBA players. I'd be throwing more players out there. He's firmly in the top 5, though. Make no mistake about it. He's a spectacular player. He's a generational player, and the main thing is he's young. He is 23 years old. He is only going to get better from here. I am excited to see what Anthony Edwards does from now on, but he's matching up with the Dallas Mavericks in the conference finals. I think the Timberwolves are going to win that, man. This Timberwolves team, it just feels like, I hate to use a cliche here, but it feels like a team of destiny. Like you go in on the road in Game 7 versus the defending champs, you knock them off, you dominate in the second half, you make clutch play after clutch play as a team, not just Anthony Edwards, but as a team making clutch plays. The most dominant defense in all of the playoffs right now, firing on all cylinders, playing well on offense when you need to play well on offense, going up against a team that can't defend worth a damn. So I think they're going to have really good success on the offensive end, and a team that it's going to be hard to cover Luka and Kyrie. That's for damn sure. But if anyone can do it, we just watched what they did to the defending champions, who had what we thought was an unstoppable duo in Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic in the playoffs. Just dominated them in the second half of Game 7. I definitely see him doing something similar here in this series with the Mavs. I think they get to the finals. And then on the other side, oh boy, did the media want to see the Boston Celtics versus the New York Nets. You could feel the melancholy on the broadcast yesterday as the Knicks went into the second half down big. The Indiana Pacers start pulling away. Jalen Brunson, wish for a speedy recovery for him, but he fractures his hand. You can feel Doris Burke eyeing up. I don't want to say that's going to get flagged on YouTube, but you understand. Feeling melancholy in the worst way possible. You can read between the lines how you wish as to what I was going to say instead, and decided better of it, if you will. Everyone at the desk, Michael Wilbon, Stephen A. Smith. No one picked the Indiana Pacers to win this series, which is insane considering, the Indiana Pacers were, I think they were a 3 seed. Like, they weren't that badly seeded in this whole thing. They were the seed right behind the Knicks in this, so I don't understand why people were so gung-ho on the Knicks. I get Jalen Brunson made them a really good team. Really, once Jalen Brunson went out, they didn't have a snowball's chance in hell. The Indiana Pacers come out, they win Game 7, they go to the conference finals, and they will be meeting the Boston Celtics, who have just been sitting there for basically like the last week after putting the finishing touches on that series against the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think this could be a fun series, man. I don't think the Indiana Pacers are going to defend worth a damn, because they usually don't. So it's a pretty safe assumption that they won't this time around. I do, however, think, they can score with anyone in the league. They might have the best offense in the league, quite frankly. That might not bear out analytically, but when they turn it on, they can put up some historic performances. They just did. I think they had one of, if not the highest shooting percentage for a Game 7 in NBA playoff history in that game versus the Knicks. They were on fire. Tyrese Halliburton has really come into his own as a player in these playoffs. So, I mean, if they can just make it a shootout every game, I think the Pacers have a real chance to come out here and take some games. At the end of the day, though, let's not get it twisted. The Celtics are minus 1,000 in this series on FanDuel right now for a reason. The Boston Celtics have been the prohibitive favorites to win the NBA Finals from the very beginning. They haven't really been tested in a significant way so far in these playoffs. They've had some inconsistent performances. You look at that Game 2 versus the Cleveland Cavaliers where they just got inexplicably blown out of the fucking floor. So you got that looking at you right in the face. But at the same time, I mean, these Celtics, I mean, they are the number one seed for a reason. They're expected to go to the NBA Finals for a reason. I do think they go to the NBA Finals. I think it's going to be in 6 or 7, though. I think the Pacers give them a little run for their money, get some good playoff experience for that young core, and then you kind of, you live to fight another day at the end of this. So, yeah, there you go. That's the matchup. There's your little NBA Conference Championship preview. We're at like 46 minutes. Nothing I say from here on out is going to be good. So, there you go. There's about 47 minutes of winging it. With that, Ethereum is up 20.5% over the last 21 hours. That's pretty crazy. However, no one cares about that. No one gives a shit about my crypto, and let that be a lesson to you. No one gives a shit about yours either. And on that note, thank you all so much for tuning into Unqualified Analysis. I am your host, Caleb Verzak. You can follow me on all my socials at CalebVUA. The link will be down in the description. Go ahead, hit subscribe, rate, like, all that sort of shit on all of the platforms you may be listening, whether it be YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Amazon Music, all those sorts of things. Go ahead, hit the subscribe button, and keep it listening. Share with some friends, too. Help me grow this thing a little bit more. Outside of that, if you want to contact the show, either hit me up on the email, unqualifiedanalysis@gmail.com. That's also down in the description. Or just hit me on the DMs via the Twitter, X, whatever you call it. Again, if you call it X, I don't trust you, but, respect for your opinion. I'm just, taking note, I suppose. But go ahead, hit me up on there. Twitter will probably be a little bit more responsive. So just go ahead, hit me up there, and we should be good. Outside of that, thank you all so much for tuning into Unqualified Analysis. As always, I've got no clue what I'm talking about, but one thing I learned this week, no one knows exactly when the sandwich was invented, but according to legend, the thing we think of as a sandwich came into being because of the 4th Earl of Sandwich. During his marathon sessions of gambling, he would order roast beef between 2 slices of bread. So, if that legend is true, the roast beef sandwich, plain roast beef, nothing on it. That's the most British meal of all time. Completely tasteless. It just is calories, but I digress. If that is true, if that is to be believed, the roast beef sandwich was the first modern sandwich. So there you go. Thank you to the 4th Earl of Sandwich, who had a massive gambling problem. And on that note, I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.